Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? It's a little bit after 10 on a Thursday evening, 2nd of July. I think you just heard those fireworks. We have a few firework folks. Boy, I don't know, by the way, I wasn't planning. It seems like regarding that whole thing, um, everything I've heard about fireworks so far, it's again all this talk of band stuff. So it's, oh yeah. Anyway, I wasn't really, just a side note, not really the main thing I wanted to talk about. I had an interesting experience today after teaching some music lessons. And as you guys know, maybe not, I typically drive to students' homes. There's a small number that do come to my place, but anyway. So, yeah. So I was on my way home, and this is kind of a hilly road that I've driven up and down many times before. In Woodinville, in fact. Old Woodinville Duval Road. And it connects with Woodinville Duval Road, and there's been some construction going on there recently. And so I'm approaching a construction area, and nobody's there. Nobody's there with a stop sign or a slow sign. What do you do when you get to a construction zone and nobody's there? Well, I think most of us would stop for a bit. I think that's what I did. But then I see this person who I think is supposed to be the person in charge of that whole thing, and she's quite a ways down the road talking to, I don't know. I don't know what she's doing. So she motions toward me. I can see her arms moving. I'm not really sure though if she's saying to drive or to stop. It's not really clear. But believe me, I can see I have pinpoint accurate vision when it comes to seeing things quite a ways down the road. So it's, my vision's fine. You know, I wear glasses. For that, my glasses are perfect. There was no issue with that. But it was getting a little darker. Not quite as dark as it is right now, of course, but wasn't exactly blindingly. Anyway, so but most importantly, she was far enough away that I didn't know what she was talking about. She was just waving her arms. So I start driving, thinking, oh, she says it's okay for me to drive. So I'm driving slowly, get to a point where I can kind of go to the right again. I was going on the left lane, then went back to the right lane. As I pass, she yells at me. I mean, actually, that's an understatement. She screams at me. It was not something I really want to remember or care to repeat. But, I mean, livid. Completely livid. And many of us would take a second, stop the car, have it out with her. I decided not to do that. I decided, you know what? No. So, no. So I shouted, well, I rolled down my window a little further down the road and shouted to some construction guys that she should be fired, of course. Then a foreman approached me, and this guy, I kid you not, all these jackhammers going on, all these equipment, it's noisy, right? Of course, they're doing construction. He thinks that, he's speaking loudly enough that I could hear him. And this guy's probably a chain smoker or recovering from being one. But obviously smoking has really damaged his voice. Because, with a bunch of mechanical equipment going on, or whatever, noisy stuff, any one of us can shout over most of that stuff, no problem. This guy is already had an issue with his voice. and thought he was speaking loudly enough for me to hear what he's saying. I kid you not, folks. I can't make this stuff up. I cannot make this stuff up. I mean, if I wrote a story, I like to write some fiction here and there sometimes. If I was writing a story about experiences, I don't tend to write about real life stuff, but this sort of scenario would not even pop in my head ever. So this guy, I'm getting the feeling like, when you are, if you're a construction worker or foreman or whatever you are, or you're a traffic person, you might think you have a little bit of authority. Okay. We all like to feel important. We all like to feel like we're doing a good job. And all that good stuff. Respect to all the security guards and policemen and everybody, anybody from in any kind of position. Really. Because, I get it. But what do people do so many times? It doesn't really matter what your job is. You want to work hard, sure. You want to do a good job, sure. I couldn't shake this feeling like, are these guys on a power trip to some degree or another? But that was a kind of a afterthought. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this lady was screaming at me. I mean, she herself this whole situation should have been different. She should have had a walkie-talkie and communicating via the walkie-talkie so that she didn't have to leave a post that she was supposed to be at so that she could direct traffic. Any one of us would be like, what the heck? And especially because she was motioning to me, that was what caused me to say, oh, maybe she wants me to drive. If she didn't do anything, if she hadn't done anything, and if she put a stop sign out there, or a sign saying, she should have had a sign saying, stop, some kind of thing leaning up against a cone, saying, we'll be right back, or something like that. In the meantime, you just stop. Something along those lines, right? Before she left her post. That should have been something like that. It should have been very, very clear. But because she didn't do that, it was very unclear. When we go through driver's ed, there's all kinds of things that we learn about. And believe me, I also had to review the rules about roundabouts, for instance. I know how roundabouts work even better now. I could tell you anything you guys want to know about roundabouts. But we go through this whole thing when we were teens. It would probably make sense to review these kinds of traffic laws from time to time. And believe me, I was racking my brain. I told the sheriff this. I was trying to find if I was in the wrong or whatever. And the only thing this lady screamed to me was, wait till I tell you to go. Something along those lines. But it was the kind of tone where it would cause many people to want to get out of their car and have it out with her. Didn't do that, of course. So, I was just, did I do something wrong? No. The sheriff knew exactly what I was talking about. No, I didn't do anything wrong. They were at fault. But, when you have to change things, these things happen all the time when you have to, stuff happens. But I'm assuming that's why you have walkie-talkies, man. Why would any construction company or, contractor doing this stuff, why would they not have walkie-talkies? To me, that's just, it's like some Joe Schmo Okay, yeah, we got some equipment. We can do this. Yep. Oh, walkie-talkies. We don't need those. No, it's fine. Just we have our vests. We have our signs. Come on, man. What if the construction zone was much bigger than that? You know, how far? What if I couldn't even see her? There's a lot of what ifs that go on here, and you just don't. There's ways to do things like that, I'm assuming, and ways not to do things. There was some construction going on a little further down Woodville Duval Road, closer to Duval, not too long ago. The way they handled that stuff was perfect. I mean, they had their walkie-talkies. They were communicating with each other. They were awesome. No issues with those guys. I did have issues with these guys. I did. Not gonna get into things like what the grunt workers' ethnicity were and all of this stuff. The only reason to mention that is because you guys probably know exactly where I'm going with this, but it's not super important. But yeah, I noticed something about all the workers. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you can leave that in the comments. And because I noticed that one thing in the amongst that one ethnicity, so to speak, amongst all the grunt workers, all the guys all operating bulldozers and things, it made me wonder. That's all I'm saying. It made me wonder. It did. About this company, but whatever. Like whatever. Yeah. Trying to figure out how to say that stuff in a way that those of you who have a certain level of intelligence and maturity will probably know what I'm talking about anyway. Okay. So, I already talked to the sheriff. This is all worked out. I told him, yeah, next time this happens, he told me what to do. Talk to King County Roads, get the name of the company, do that, report him. And he's keeping an eye on that stretch of road. Well, the police are, definitely. Anything, in my opinion, that involves driving, traffic, that's no joke. That's, life and death stuff. It's not like, don't mean to put down other jobs. I'm a music teacher, for instance. And I've talked about being, in one of my other videos, being an entertainer, being a clown before. And all that scary clown stuff and that whole thing. And that's fine and good. There's reasons why you should treat people respectfully, but, treat a professional like a professional, like, have some common decency, which I try to do, And that's for all jobs, not just for jobs that you admire. Really, seriously. But, how was it going? There's things that you should just do and not do that become a much more serious matter when you're talking about certain kinds of jobs. When I was in sales, in a music store, if you're cranky with customers, that's not good because it drives customers away, supposedly. But customers are people. It's a jacked up thing. It's just, and nobody really cares for the, people know when you're trying to be brown nosy or, trying to, you know what I'm trying to say, right? This is just the nature of sales and business in general, whether or not talking about a brick and mortar store or some other kind of sales thing or whatever it is, you're trying to sell somebody something. And so you're trying to be extra nice to them. And that's why it's bad to be whatever. And there's just the overall retail stuff, which is kind of a load of bollocks anyway, in a sense. You don't want to drive customers away on purpose, but everybody has their limits, and You should not expect people to be. Anyway, that's a different. I've mentioned that stuff before, but we're talking about like not only police but also people involved with traffic and construction. At least the people involved with the traffic going ons and stuff. And there's many other kinds of jobs I'm talking about like this, like firefighters or people that are assistant paramedics, doctors, anybody who's involved with a job that's involves more things like life and death or safety and other such matters. There's a lot of things like when you talk about a job like that, it doesn't have to be something super, senior or whatever. You have to be really, really, in my opinion, really level-headed. You have to be a very level-headed person. Being a firefighter, I don't keep in contact super well with this person, but I know a guy in high school. He was not so nice in high school, but he's better now. So he went went into the Marines, got really, super good at, so all that training was great for being a firefighter, because, you could take orders under pressure and, anyway, he didn't become a cop, he became a firefighter. And, he was used to all the physical stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me, it does make perfect sense. But a lot of that Marines training probably involves being able to be clear thinking when a lot of crap is going on. Yeah, fire your weapon no matter what.